Now this one is a really unorthodox kettlebell technique called the two hands anyhow. This is another classic. Like the bent press, it's an exercise that time has somewhat forgotten, but myself and some others in the kettlebell world have kind of brought it out and dusted it off from the past because it has a lot of functionality, lots of range of motion, lots of flexibility, lots of strength, different planes of motion. So it really has a lot of carryover just for developing your overall athleticism. In the olden times, there wasn't a lot of technology. So the lifters, there also wasn't, people weren't in the sports, they didn't have access to PEDs and things like that. So the guys really had to develop their body mechanics to develop the strength. And there's still world records that exist from more than 100 years ago because people aren't practicing some of these lifts anymore, okay? So the two hands anyhow, basically what it is you're getting both hands overhead any way that you can, okay? That's why it's called the anyhow. So for example, I can clean and press, now I have it overhead, okay? Or I can push press to get it overhead, okay? Or I can jerk it to get it overhead. Or I can snatch it to get it overhead, okay? So you can get it overhead any way that you want, but you got to get it overhead. So now let's get into the movement. We have two bells here, and we're combining a lot of the techniques we've already did. So if you're working your overhead squat, that's going to help you in this movement, okay? You're working your pressing variations, that's going to help you in this movement. You're going to take one kettlebell, bring it overhead. So maybe I'll snatch it. Now I lock that out and I stay locked out. From here, the second step is I'm going to do an overhead squat and come all the way to that bottom position. The third step is I'm going to curl this bottom kettlebell to my chest. Now the fourth step, I'm going to stand up with it. And then the fifth step is I'm going to bring that second bell overhead. That's the two hands anyhow. Now I'm going to go in reverse. I drop it. I squat down and I lower. Okay, so that's one side, and I do the same thing on the other side. I curl, stand up, press it up, lower down, squat back down, and drop it down. Let's do one more each side. Once you finish your last rep, stand up with it and bring it down. It's a great exercise, super comprehensive, working a lot of different physical attributes all together with one technique. That's the two hands anyhow.